It's Wednesday night, and this is the Full Coverage Football Show live on YouTube, youtube.com/at FCFS Pod. Yeah, that's right. We're a show. We're a pod. We're a show pod. Why not? Coming up, though, we got a hell of a show for you. We talk about, hey, maybe you're the mistake. And no, we're not talking about what your uncle said to you at Thanksgiving dinner. We talk about Ryan Day. And we'll talk some other stuff. Now, see, I said that, and now I'm all bummed out, and we got a show to do. We'll see in a second.
It's the worst.
Beyond the Texans?
Yes.
Giants?
Yes.
We are live on a snowy and cold. We got the 5th best recruiting class early, but we still can't beat Michigan Wednesday. And now we're going to do a fabulous show. And to bring in the Sonic to my knuckles, Mr. Drew Ward. What up, bud?
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
You, man, I'd like to say I can't complain like we normally do, but let's get into the show. We're going to start with last week first. And you know what we're starting with? We are starting with Ryan Day. And the terrible, no good, very bad Ryan Day that we saw this week. And the what happened at the end of the game. Michigan, 6-5 coming in. A trash-ass team. Can't score on offense. They got 2 good players on defense, basically. The 2 guys up the middle in Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. They're playing without Will Johnson, who's going to the draft. They're playing without Colton Loveland, their all-world tight end. Only guy who can do anything on their offense. Ohio State's coming in 10-1, only lost by 1 point to the best team in the nation, Oregon. This is the year Ryan Day does it. He runs it up. He finally puts 100 points on him like he said he was going to do 5 years ago. Since he said that comment, he's put up 84, including 10 points this week as the Buckeyes, the number 2 team in the country, lose 13-10 at the shoe to the Michigan Wolverines. 4 times in a row, Ryan Day has lost. Drew, what the fuck happened? And yes, the what happened banner up there made by my kid. We have a 15-year-old doing graphic department for us.
Let's go.
Fantastic.
Hey, don't get us on any child labor laws, please.
We'll get into the what happened part of Ryan Day in a second. Drew, what happened during the game?
I mean, it was bad, right? They come in 3 touchdown favorites.
Yeah.
You're at home after losing 3 in a row. If there's any year Jim Harbaugh leaves, like literally everything is stacked
They're
up.
not cheating anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe we fucking should.
Like, to me, it's tough because they came out. Will Howard threw a terrible interception in the red area. He threw a terrible interception on his own red area.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the defense did anything, it was negated by how the offense played. They couldn't run the football. They were ineffective everywhere. And it's just in Michigan. What Michigan did is let's not act like Michigan was fantastic. You know, they threw for 68 passing yards. But I will
62 was the final number.
62 passing yards?
62
passing yards. But
not
the thing they did,
162.
though, there was a lot of those underneath 3-4 yard third down plays they just kept making. And Ohio State, of course, Ohio State's a notoriously great special teams school. Mm-hmm. That's the way they've been since the Tressel days, right? The Tressel days, they had the best special teams of anybody in the country on a year-to-year basis. And then you come out, you miss multiple field goals. It's literally, it felt like everything just that could have gone wrong went wrong. And it feels like even the Jack Sawyer, the pick in the end zone when it was kind of like, oh, fuck. And they do not, like, any time that you had any optimism as an Ohio State fan, it immediately went 3 and out of the window. And that's just the way it kind of went the whole day, or it was a turnover. It's shocking. They just didn't even show up to play. Honestly, like if we talk about, you said that the raw, that's $20 million roster. Ohio State spent money on players, and this is a game. If you want to think you're a national contender,
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough one to lose. It really is, and it was downright embarrassing. And it sucked. I was like at a party with other people, and like we would all get excited, and I'd be like live betting, and it'd be like, oh, this is exciting, and then it like sucks. But like the end of the game, like everybody was on their phone. Nobody was even saying anything. It was tough, man. This was supposed to be the year, to your point, where they kind of put it on them because of I think that Ohio State has superior talent, but Ryan Day got outcoached, in my opinion. They got outplayed, and it sucks, man.
I don't even. Ryan Day's game plan was awful. Chip Kelly's play calling was awful. I don't know if it's that they got out coached or if they outthought themselves. Like
the defense was sensational.
Yeah, 22 games in a row. The team that ran for the most yards has won.
Crazy.
So the Buckeyes are like, okay, we're going to run the football, but we're going to run it right at the heart of their defense, where our team is the weakest. That interior line is dealing with injuries. It's changed around.
And it was so predictable too, dude. It was every first down, it was a inside scheme. And they just kept getting stop for 1 yard, stop for 2 yards, stop for no yards. And it was they knew, boom, this is what they're trying to do. And they just kept trying to do it. And it was like at some point you got to pull the plug and get the ball outside.
So okay, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, they're two best players. Let's just keep running at them. No. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the second quarter, the first play of the second quarter, the last play of the first quarter. I'm like, run outside, run an option. You've got a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback who's athletic with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Run an outside option. They run that, get like 15 yards. I'm like, okay, here we go, baby. This is going to turn it around. I'm like, my -4.5 third quarter bet's going to come in handy here. This is going to work out. And they're like, you know what? No, we got to prove it to them. We got to prove we're tougher. Ohio State, you're not tougher than Michigan. Michigan is built forward tough.
They're faster.
You're faster.
They didn't do anything to take advantage of it at all.
Play your game. Michigan is so far into Ryan Day's head that he can't play his own game. And we want to hate Ryan Day and people want to fire him. I get it because he can't beat Michigan because he looks like John Cooper 2.0. But he wins big games otherwise for the most part. Yeah, the bowl game last year, they got destroyed. We can talk about that later. This was the worst game plan I have ever watched. It was so unbelievably frustrating to not only Ohio State fans, but college football fans who turn on this game knowing Carnell Tate, Emeka Ibuka, Jeremiah Smith, this fabulous freshman, Travion Henderson, the Quinshon Judkins, who they all knew from Ole Miss, who was coming over. They're expecting this high-flying offense, and they did jack shit.
10 points on their home
Jack
field.
Sawyer catches or intercepts the ball in the end zone. We're like, this is it. Turn it around. We do nothing with the football. And then, after the game, you want to show fight because they're trying to plant a flag on your field? First off, stop trying to plant flags in artificial turf. It's not going in. It's not going in real grass either. It's a dull stick not going in. It's not pointing. Get pointy flags and then stab someone with it. Make something change.
You do need some sort of an edge to penetrate the ground. Yeah. I 100% agree with that.
I mean, the Buckeyes couldn't find the edge all fucking day.
That's true.
And then Michigan's like, we're gonna do what the Buckeyes did and jam this round peg in its square hole. I get it.
It's tough to watch, dude. It was so hard to watch because, and the other frustrating thing is like, okay, they go to the halftime. You're like, all right, they're gonna regroup at half and come out and they came out and did the same fucking thing they did the whole first half. That didn't work at all.
What did you think about the flag planting?
What's that?
What did you think about the flag planting after the game? What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, here's my deal with Ohio State is you've gotten your ass kicked 4 years in a row on your home field, on their field. Teams almost reserve the right to just disrespect you on your own home field. That's on you. You came out, you talk shit, and you fell on your face. Overall, though, the flag planting thing's fucking stupid. If we're being honest, it's very dumb. But in this situation, Ohio State should have had to sit there and watch all those guys just embarrass them on their home field.
Like, I get it. You're pissed off, but you had 60 minutes to show fight. And here I am. I've got an Ohio State tattoo. I named my daughter Scarlet Gray. Like, I'm obviously a bit of a fucking fan here. At the same time, It was cool when Baker did it. I wasn't mad when Baker did it at the shoe because they disrespected them and Norman the year before. Now all these other teams, obviously it happened in other games. Michigan, Ohio State was the big one because it is the game, the biggest rivalry in all of sport. And then a fight breaks out, and Jack Sawyer ends up with the flag thrown to the ground. Respect to Jack Sawyer, but dude, what happens to this team when they play? Like, you had 60 minutes to fight. Now's not the time. Mason Graham can call you a pussy because you lost 4 years in a row. Like, this is an entire senior class, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, who didn't beat Michigan. No pairs of gold pants to sell like Terrell Pryor did. Nothing. It's shit. Ryan Day, you got to win the Natty. Where are you on this?
So there's Ohio State fans out there that want to lose in the first round or the second round just so Ryan Day's fired. If we can play or win a Natty, that's what I want. Like, yes, I would love to beat Michigan, but here's the deal: like, he has to make a run in the college football playoff, or he's done. And it's not. This is the problem with when your team's on a pedestal for so long, right? Like, you're a 10, 11 win team every year, year in, year out, and your expectation is to beat Michigan. Mm-hmm. So Ryan Day's done the first part, fantastic, but like in the Ohio, and you know how it is, you can't lose to Michigan 4 years in a row, and they're not going to
800 winning percentage. 800 winning percentage.
Yeah, and we always play the game. Who do you replace him with, right? And it's like, is that guy going to be better? I don't know, but it's like it's tough to replace a guy that wins a lot of games. Like, that's just the deal.
Are Buckeyes fans going to feel better if you go 9-3, you make the playoff, but in those 9 wins you beat Michigan? Absolutely, they're going to feel better. At the same time, I want to stop something here that I keep hearing. Urban Meyer said he wouldn't mind coming back. Urban Meyer is not coming back. Urban Meyer loves to talk about Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer right now is 7-0 against Michigan. He's doing nothing to change that. He's done. I don't want to hear that.
Urban Meyer's probably not the greatest person, but like, he's decent on TV. Let him
just keep, football coach.
Yeah, let him just keep making his $150,000 for being on television or whatever it is.
And big noon kickoff, which still pisses me off, but whatever.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Ohio State fans who want Dave fired, I can see those fans. Like, we're maybe going to have Tennessee at the shoe.
Oh, if they lose to Tennessee, I want them
in front of 110,000 people, and I'm feeling like halfway through that game, if they're losing, if Nico's having a hell of a game, and the Buckeyes aren't doing anything on offense, that stadium is going to turn so fast, and Ryan Day is going to have to walk into the locker room and be like, "Guys, I got to take a piss. I'm going to be right back," and he's going to have to run to his car and get the hell out of there. It's that bad. Like, I understand it is high expectations. And they're not living up to the most important one, which is beating that team up north.
And you also just got your ass beat on your home field, and now you don't get to play for multiple more weeks. So I'll be interested to see if they come out. So like, this is another thing to take. If they come out and fight their ass off for Ryan Day and they look good in the playoff, then you're like, okay, but like, that's a tough loss for everyone in that locker room.
You set yourself up for a perfect spot for a number 5 seed, or maybe even better if you would have beat Oregon coming into this game, the Big Ten championship game, which we'll talk more about later. Let's move into headlines. Hey, your team cost someone their job this week. Can't believe that. Get the Flus out of here. Eberflus fired by the Bears. 5-19 in one-score games, 14-32 overall, and that Thanksgiving mess. Your team didn't do shit in the second half of that football game. Bears, 23-20, 32 seconds left, driving into field goal range with a chance to tie this football game, maybe even win it.
They run a draw. 26, but bro, all they needed was like 6 yards, 7 yards to get into field goal range with the timeout.
They run a draw. Zadarius Smith, former Brown, great trade for you guys, gets in there, blows it up. 30 seconds. I'm in the car. I just left my mom's house for Thanksgiving. I'm in the car. I'm like, oh, they're going to call the timeout and get another play. Say something to my kid, and then all of a sudden I hear, the game is over. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Exactly.
My voice went up 30 octaves. How do you blow that game? Unbelievable. But that's why you're 5-19 in one-score games. Eberflus gets fired.
Yeah.
What a mess that is. And we talked about it.
Some of that falls on Caleb too, right? Like, you can't audible out of something with the clock just ticking down. this was kind of building up for Eberflus, though, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this one just happened to be really tough, and I was sitting there watching. So the problem was for me is like we were at like the dinner table with like the nice china, like actually like in the middle of Thanksgiving, and I was just watching it on my phone with no audio, and I'm looking, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they threw it, and then I also thought that the guy that they threw it, I thought he had a chance to catch it, and he just kind of stopped. So that kind of freaked me out as well while I was watching. But no, it's just like, yeah, he deserved to be fired. It's tough. They don't beat any good teams. But yeah, that end of game sequence is very tough.
They were 4-2 at one point. They looked like they were 5-2.
Yeah,
It has crashed since the Hail Mary incident. Thomas Brown 2 weeks ago got promoted to offense coordinator. Thomas Brown now interim head coach. Not a bad couple weeks for Thomas Brown. Who did you see his press conference?
yes, I like it.
He's like Mike Tomlin all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like
I like it.
That's okay. Dig that. I like that. Now the
Kinda
talk
coaches,
is
the kind of coaches are changing now. Like,
Mhm.
dude, like I feel like we're slowly moving on from like the rewash old guys, you know, the
Yeah.
guys that just get multiple jobs. And I think we're getting on to, you know, some more, you know, young, exciting guys, whether they're good or not. We'll see.
Speaking of retreads, Cliff Kingsbury, the current betting favorite for that job.
For the Bears job,
Mm-hmm. Number 2, Ben
here's
Johnson.
what I'll say to you is Cliff Kingsbury is a solid coach, but look at like Washington and what they've kind of become. Like they've slowed down significantly. So to me, it's like how innovative is he at the NFL level to get new plays in? Because Ben Johnson's shown that that guy could come up with plays anywhere. Like that guy is, and I think that's important. So I listen. I would be happy if the Bears hire Cliff Kingsbury, and I think that would be good for the Lions in the NFC North.
Absolutely would be. We talked about a couple weeks ago how Kingsbury in Arizona's second half of the season, his offense got worse. He's doing the same thing in Washington right now. And the reason Matt Eberflus should have got fired, you bring up Ben Johnson and his ability to scheme plays. The Bears kept us from one of the most fantastic plays we may have ever seen on Thanksgiving. When you see Penix taking a end around, ready to pass the ball downfield, I am jacked on the couch. I'm like,
Me too.
Oh man. I'm like Chris Farley waiting for wingies and Tommy Boy, like, idiot, Sojo the idiot, like freaking out. And
it's funny because if you watch,
it
like
takes
the Lions,
8 players to tackle him, and he doesn't even go down.
Yeah, if you watch like the Lions all year, it feels like they kind of been setting it up a little bit.
Yeah,
but like, bro, they put him in the slot reverse with him. It was never seen anything like it. Like, and they were cooking at that point, but then I was like, man, in the second half, I was like, yeah, that fucking Penix play doesn't look as cool now that we're about to blow this game.
This is for all the years we had to watch John Kitna, Joey Harrington, insert quarterback here for the Lions, and we're like getting to see
JT Kitna. Do you know who that is? That is Johnny's son. He committed to Bowling Green today.
Fuck yeah.
JT Kitna.
Let's
Kyle
go.
Anderson gave me that information. Big Bowling Green guy. So good for John Kitna's son, JT Kitna.
I'm going to have to get some of the boys I know up there at Bowling Green to run in with the Kitna family, see if we can get John Kitna on the show. That'd be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Jake, good for him. I mean, it's crazy. I'm getting old. I'm seeing all these guys like LeVar Arrington II committed to Penn State today. And like I wanted the Browns to draft LeVar Arrington. I was a big LeVar guy. Nice dude when I met him.
We're getting
terrifyingly
old,
huge. Yeah.
We're getting old. Like it's the kids are gonna start calling us old heads and stuff.
No, my kids already do it. They're like, yeah, you're skibbity, blah, blah, blah. What the Sigma? I don't know what they're saying anymore. I feel ancient as hell. Let's move on to crazy people. Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers, man. We've seen Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, George Pickens now, Diontae Johnson.
Lunatic.
George Pickens does something stupid every week.
Dude,
they moved on from
He might not be all there upstairs, dude.
Not at all.
He's
What And the thing is, like, we know they're crazy in Pittsburgh, and then they leave and they get worse. Like, look at Antonio Brown. The dude stripped and walked off a field eventually. And hang on, we got to stop before I go any further. Antonio Brown, we make fun of him a lot because he deserves it. But he did something nice this week. Props to Antonio Brown and CT ESPN for taking care of the little girl with cancer that got knocked down the stairs in Buffalo. Good for him. Antonio Brown does nice things, but he is batshit crazy. We know that. Anyway, back to the point. So we know George Pickens is crazy. We know Mike Tomlin deals with all these crazy personalities. Then, like, he uses them as far as they can go, and then they go real crazy when they leave because Diontae Johnson got traded to Carolina, gets traded to the Ravens, and now this dude doesn't even want to go in. He's getting suspended. What is going on with Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers? What happens?
It's more how great is Mike Tomlin to be able to deal with all this shit. Because, like, and why are receivers always got to be like this? Why is it always the receivers that got to act like this? I mean, Diontae Johnson was such a wasted sign in Carolina. That's a lot of money going to a guy that's been completely useless for the most part of the season. And it sucks because, like, Bryce Young doesn't have much to deal with. No. You know what I mean? Doesn't have a lot of people to throw the ball to. So you take him out, it's like shit. But yet you're refusing to go in a game. I don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh wide receivers, but there seems to be something in the water. Maybe it's in the Pittsburgh water.
It's somewhere where the three rivers meet. Like they get together and it's like some Lion King type shit where the baboons get in the cup and wiping it on his head. Like
some sort of a potion.
Maybe it's insane. Like it makes sense because I know a lot of batshit crazy people from that area.
Be a potion in the water there.
I'm gonna have to check in. Like I was thinking about going kayaking up there next summer. I ain't doing it.
I'll drink the water.
Shit. Anyway, yeah. Diontae Johnson, he finally gets traded to the Ravens. You're thinking, all right, this is going to be a good fit for them. They've been looking for wide receivers. His snap count goes down and down and down. And then you're like, why didn't he play at all in the game against Philly? They could have used him. And he's like, nah, man, I'm good. Don't put me in.
I'm tripping talking about the Panthers. I forgot.
That's where he was. You're right.
Yeah,
he was terrible there, though,
too. He was in Baltimore now. I'm like, man, yeah. I mean, I think that he's kind of working his way attitude-wise out of this league.
This dude's on a contract year. Like, this is the year you should be kind of keeping it together somewhat.
He's kind of working his way out of the league with this attitude because it's like if the juice ain't worth the squeeze, see ya. Yeah. And in today's NFL, like you can find receivers easier than you could before because there's just a lot more open space in the middle and there's a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think it's like, yeah, that guy, he's worked his way probably out of the league at some point here in the next couple of years.
Speaking of mistakes, as we teased at the beginning of the show, maybe you're the mistake. And when I said that, I was saying maybe Kirk Cousins, you're the mistake Atlanta made this offseason, not drafting a quarterback at number 8 after they signed you. What is going on with Kirko? His last 3 games, 0 touchdowns, 6 picks, including 4 last Sunday against the Chargers. Kirk still 17 touchdowns, 13 picks on the season. Hasn't been terrible. Hasn't been great. But he does not look right. I understand he's coming off an Achilles. He's still playing better than Rodgers off an Achilles. But Kirko, man, what is going on there? Because he had that one game where he threw for 500 yards.
Yeah, that was cool.
It has not seemed right since. They can't find Kyle Pitts still. He's still MIA. Like, every milk carton in Atlanta's got his picture on it of him in water wings in 3 feet of water. I mean, what is going on? Is Kirko fading, or is this just a bump in the road?
Yeah, to me, it's a bump in the road. I mean, yeah, he definitely has been throwing the ball to the other team way too often.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this offense it's a young offense. They've hit a bump in the road. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, his injury has any part of it because he played so well with it earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's like you stick with him. I know it sucks. Atlanta's a fringe-ish playoff team if everything went well anyway, right? Like, that's kind of what they are. So things have not gone that way, but no, I think you got to stick with him. And now he turns around and you know, plays his old team. So I expect him to play well this week.
I hope he plays well because otherwise, I think it's time. I think you got 1 or 2 more games, Kirk, before it's time to see what the kids got. Because if you're going to be a 500 team at best right now. You're not going to do anything in the playoffs, most likely.
But
See
the
what
thing
the
is,
kids
though,
got.
yes, you're 100% right with the division.
Mm-hmm.
I think the division plays a big factor into that.
Yeah. I mean, they're one game out?
Yeah. So, like, I want to see Michael Penix too, right? I'm always a sucker for a lefty, right?
Yeah.
I always am, So yeah, I'd love to see a lefty out there outside of Tua.
I'm like,
Tua.
Who's a lefty? And I'm like, oh yeah, Tua.
Yeah.
And then I'm like Jared Lorenzen. I always go to the hefty lefty when I think of lefties. Could go Steve Young, Hall of Famer, but I always think, nope, hefty lefty, Jared Lorenzen.
Or Mike Vick, I guess.
Yeah, Mike Vick Mike Vick, dude. The flick of the wrist that dude could throw a ball 70 yards. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Great, though.
Speaking of Michael Vick, he leads the NFL in history with the most yards per carry from the quarterback position over a season. I believe 8.4 yards.
Congratulations, Mike Vick.
But currently, there is a quarterback playing right now who is actually going to possibly break that record with 8.7 yards, including a 41-yard carry this week for the New England Patriots. That's Drake May, averaging 8.7 yards per carry. And that's your random sports nugget of the day as we move on to our next headline. The Bills kill the 49ers. They are, but he's playing really well.
Yeah.
And they should have won that game, but they didn't beat Anthony Richardson and his 27% completion percentage. The Bills killed the Niners 35-10. They've got the Rams this week, and then they've got the Lions in a December 15th matchup. Drew, the Bills, I know you're thinking the Lions are the best team. How far back are the Bills from being up in that ranking? Are they number 2?
Oh, I mean, I think they're all, on a week-to-week basis, to anyone's eye, they're all going to be interchangeable to an extent, right? The Bills are really good. I also think the Niners ran into a night they didn't want to be there, right? It was cold. It was snowy. They were terrible. I don't think Purdy threw for 100 yards. They just didn't. The Bills didn't have to do much, but the Bills are really, really good. I mean, everybody knows that everybody wants a Bills-Lions Super Bowl. That's what everybody wants.
That's what I said at the beginning of the year, and I wanted to stick with it.
Imagine it, dude. Those two fan bases, they're respectable. They're not like mean talking, being rivals, being pieces of shit. It would be beautiful. But no, the Bills are great, and the Bills are real, and the Bills have done a better job running the ball. We said this for the last few years that that's what it's going to take in the playoffs. But I mean, Josh Allen's been fantastic.
Josh Allen threw his own touchdown pass the way it was scored, which is the most unbelievable thing. He got a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
I'm still not sure I buy that.
That's insane the way it was scored.
I've seen it. I remember Brad Johnson threw one and it got tipped and he caught it and ran in. But if somebody just laterals a ball to you, how is that?
I mean, any other time it's a lateral, it's on a hook and lateral play, it's a receiving touchdown. It's just insane. And for Amari Cooper to do that and for Josh to be headed that way, what an exciting and electric play that was. Bills are right now a wagon. They are the second best team in the league. Lions number 1. And then you got a bunch of teams fighting for that third spot, including the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, who squeaked out a win on Black Friday. But you look at the NFC North right now, and those teams set up for a really, really tough division as you head into this weekend. Y'all good over there?
Yes, I am now. Sorry.
All right. I thought you were going through some technical issues. Wanted to make sure before we carried on.
Just plug it in shit, blow it, put it back in, open it, it starts up. What did you ask me? Because I couldn't hear anything.
No, I was just talking about it. I was just rambling on about really good teams because I'm like, hey, he's working on something over there. I'm going to ramble. And it led me into when you come to the third best team right now, if you go past Lions and Bills, you can start with the 11-1 defending 2-time Super Bowl champions who right now they're 11-1. They look like frauds based on their record because they were just winning barely, but they are still the back-to-back defending champions. And when it comes to playoffs, they'll turn it on. But when you look at the other teams, like the Ravens are faltering. I don't trust the Steelers necessarily. Then you look at your division, and it sets up for what we're going to see tomorrow night in the 9-3 Packers. You got the 10-2 Vikings. It's like the NFC North The Bills, those are the teams that are really battling. Like you want to say, hey, maybe there's a team that could come out of the AFC. Ravens are too up and down. I don't trust anyone else as far as top teams in the NFL. And we're talking about top teams. We're going to move on to a next segment, and we are going to talk about the top teams in college football. This is the latest college football playoff rankings. Our new graphic brought to you by our 15-year-old graphics department there. Wait until you see the next one she has for us on our show here. She put stars on it. But anyway, you look at these first round matchups: Arizona State, Penn State, Tennessee, Ohio State, Bama, Notre Dame, Indiana, Georgia, all waiting to go to the quarterfinals, face Boise State, Oregon, SMU, or Texas. Now we got the SEC title game, which will change possibly Texas and Georgia. You've got the Big Ten title game, which could change Oregon and Penn State. Now the Mountain West, Boise State's game could change things for them. I mean, they've got UNLV at home on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Bama. I feel like Bama's going to be in there. I feel like Ohio State's a guarantee. Notre Dame, they don't have to worry about a conference title. They're always going to get a bye week because they're not in a conference. I don't think we've ever said anything about them not being in a conference. True? Have we on this show?
Pisses me off all the time. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm thinking Notre Dame." Yeah, whatever.
You look at some of these matchups. This could set up really fun. I feel like Indiana has a chance to prove themselves, but I think Georgia would destroy them. Bama, I would love to see go into Notre Dame in front of football Jesus and just destroy them. But
it's controversial Alabama's in this playoff right now.
It is. And we talked about it. This is a TV product.
Yep.
And their losses and their wins are better than anything Miami's done. Miami will say, well, we didn't lose to a 6-win garbage team like Ohio State did. I get that. But your defense is trash, and head-to-head, Ohio State probably destroys you. When we look at strength of schedule, Brett Bielema took care of that and talked about their strength of schedule as opposed to Miami and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that could get in. The hottest team in the SEC probably doesn't have a chance to get in, and that's Lenora Sellers and the South Carolina Gamecocks, who won an electric game on an amazing run in the fourth quarter to beat Clemson, to put Clemson in against SMU. Sorry, is that the right thing that I got? I had it written down. Clemson is SMU. I want to make sure. It just didn't sound right to me. I get my divisions and conferences confused now because of all the change.
Well, I don't know who plays for who.
It is Clemson and SMU, 8 p.m. Saturday night in Charlotte. It just didn't feel right saying SMU has in the ACC.
Correct. I don't know what's going on anymore, dude. Just do away with conferences. What does it matter?
It was like the Big 18 still throws me off a little bit.
Yeah,
you look.
It's been that way for years. Like it's been the big. It was always the big. It was not 10. It was never 10. It was always more than 10.
When you look at this, Drew, who do you feel got screwed, and who do you feel like should be in, and who should be out in this situation? Anybody?
It's tough. I mean, Arizona State being in at 12 is interesting.
I mean, they've got to beat Iowa State. If they don't beat Iowa State, they're not in. I mean, they're going to get
Correct.
in only because it's the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue, right? Like, This is the first year we've seen it. SMU being a bye is going to be crazy if they do win. And Boise State, too. I think Boise State probably gets shellacked by Penn State. I mean, if we're looking ahead. But look, I think the best game on the docket is going to be the Buckeyes. If things stay the way they are, that to me is the best game.
That is an absolutely fun game, and everyone's like, "Oh, Tennessee's got to come to the cold." Man, y'all been in Tennessee ever? Been in the mountains? It gets cold as shit there too.
Tennessee's good too. Tennessee's fun.
They are. I mean, Nico is a fun quarterback to watch. They got talent on both sides of the ball. When I look at the Arizona State-Penn State matchup, I mean, Bam Scadabo is playing some of the best football around, and that's a kid that proves that with transfer portal that these kids can come from anywhere. You look at Schrader, who came to Missouri last year, led the Division I or FBS, whatever the hell we are now. That I still get confused with. But anyway, the kid who led the league last year in rushing came from, Furman. And now the kid who is one of the best running backs we've seen outside of Genty and Quinshawn and all the other ones we know. But the guy who's probably the hottest right now is Bam Scadabo. And that kid came from Sacramento State. And he could run all over Arizona State. Or all over Penn State for Arizona State. And Miami, I don't know if Miami deserves to get in. I don't know if Ole Miss really deserves to get in the way they've lost. But what I found interesting is the way the committee takes these rivalry week games and puts a little bit of a, they put a little bit of incentive into winning
Sure.
it, and they don't really hurt them too much for losing because of the importance of each game. Like if Alabama would have lost the Iron Bowl, they would have been out. Ohio State obviously gets sent back down because they've lost 2, but I mean, they beat Penn State. If Penn State loses in the title game here, do they then drop below Ohio State because Ohio State beat them, or do they get rewarded for playing in their conference championship game and stay in? That's where we're going to see a lot of things when it comes to Sunday, and it's not going to make sense.
We don't. Yeah, it feels like we have no clue right now.
No,
I just think Penn State loves to lose big games.
They do. And James Franklin, this is a huge game for him. And you texted me yesterday, why are we not hammering Oregon -3.5? And I said, I'm already on it because I feel like that is a game that they really need to go to. But if Oregon loses that game, do they drop or should they remain the number 1 seed? Or does it depend on how much they lose by if they do lose?
I think it does. But like, here's the tough part. It's like the committee that was doing, we kind of understood the committee in the top 4 and what they were looking for at some point because we've seen it for years. This is just a shit show. This is honestly, it's a complete shit show. And so this weekend's going to determine a lot, but I also think a lot of this is set as well. I mean, Ohio State's set. Yep. There's teams that are in here that are set. Indiana against Georgia is going to be crazy because it's like, I would assume it just is a blowout Georgia, but who knows, man?
Yeah, Carson Beck's the great wild card. Carson Beck they could beat Texas and move up. Texas obviously would stay in. I feel like looking at this right now, Oregon guarantee, Texas guarantee, Georgia guarantee, Indiana guarantee, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Tennessee, all guarantees, Penn State guarantee. Boise State, I think they have to win. Otherwise, UNLV will get that. And they'll move in. It'd be crazy for UNLV. Remember, we were talking about UNLV at the beginning of the year, how they lost their quarterback.
Their players are just quitting and shit.
Yeah. And now they're the 19th ranked team in the country, only 3.5-point dogs going into Boise State, where they know they've got to do one thing, stop Ginty. Or at least hold him back somewhat.
Contain him.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fun-ass championship games this weekend. Starting Friday night, 3 games, all starting at 8, which sucks. When you've got the Mountain West, the AAC, and CUSA, good old Conference USA. But we are in for a hell of a weekend for college football, and it sucks that this is the last big weekend before the playoffs. But this 12-team playoff, getting this finally,
here's what I'll say.
It sets us up for a fun-ass weekend and a fun month of football.
What was the worst thing ever? Remember when it was the BCS? It was waiting fucking 7 weeks for your team to play, it seemed like. So the college football playoff, it kind of expedited that a little bit. Now we got 12 teams. We're not having to wait for good college playoff football. It's coming, and it's coming fast. That's
like
let's pause.
December 20th, we had the Maxi Pad Tampon Bowl, and we're like, you know what? It's 2 teams. They've got like this kid he's an okay player. Their running back is 5'6", 135 pounds. Like, he's going to be a great accountant one day. But you know what? It's football. Like, we got that. This time, we got great football coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some good jobs opening up here, Drew. Let's talk about jobs opening. Best head coach openings in college football. Once again, we didn't put the stars on this. That's a 15-year-old girl doing our graphics.
Dude, this is all she did this?
She did this. She set it up for us. She's doing well. She's getting an extra Christmas present, extra Tay-Tay Christmas present for this. So yesterday I texted you, and I asked you, I gave you 4 options, and I didn't give you any other options. I figured we would kind of agree on the top 4. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. There are a bunch of jobs open right now. Now, as far as our top rankings, Drew's got West Virginia number 1, North Carolina number 2, Purdue number 3, UCF number 4. I got UCF number 1, West Virginia number 2, North Carolina number 3, Purdue number 4. Other openings, Fresno State, East Carolina, Charlotte, Temple, Southern Miss, Tulsa, App State, Florida Atlantic, Utah State, and Rice, not just for dinner, but also for your football field and your education.
Listen,
anyway.
If your team name's a food, if your school's a food, you're probably not going to win.
They got a lot of fat kids wanting to go there, but I won't go any further because
the Asian, Asian community.
I was like, yeah, they've got an all sumo offensive line, which would be fantastic. They would
It would.
dominate.
Yeah,
They would dominate.
would. Hey,
Their
Rice is
hands,
looking at that opportunity.
they got great hands. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Rice head
Maybe
coach,
we should get the job. Maybe
call
we
us.
should take the fucking
Call
job.
us. We just did your recruiting. Sumo wrestlers as your offensive linemen. Anyway, back to the thing at hand. Here we go. We got the best head coaching openings and options in college football. Drew, why do you say West Virginia's number one?
I just think that they've proven over time they've been consistently good. Not great, but consistently good. And the way the conferences have changed, I think that is an enticing program for me.
You're right. And I mean, you look at it, to win out in West Virginia, the cool thing about West Virginia is they're the only game in town. Like Morgantown, for those people who have been there, Morgantown's fantastic.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I am so glad I didn't go to college there because I wouldn't have made it this far. I would have been dead. But anyway, you look at that. They're the only game in town. That's why I got them in number 2. For me, UCF, you look at where they're at. They're in the recruiting hotbed of Central Florida there. They've got nothing to worry about. There's no big monster in the Big 12. Like, we're both talking Big 12 schools as the number 1. I mean, West Virginia used to be the outlier in the Big 12 because they were way out there on the coast almost. And now you got Cincinnati. You've got other teams coming into it that fit. So now you're finally blending that league together. But UCF, yeah, they've got to deal with SEC schools, Ohio State coming down to Florida. Yeah, they've got Miami, Florida State. But they can get some dogs in that school. And I think they can be really, really, really good with their division in the Big 12, because I don't think there's a monster in the Big 12 anymore with Oklahoma and Texas leaving. You look at Iowa State, they've only won 8 or 9 games. They finally won 10 this year, but they didn't have to face Texas or Oklahoma. Oklahoma State, not what they used to be. Mike Gundy just fired a whole bunch of head coaches.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's kind of, how that song
and
goes.
UCF obviously thinks they're way better than they are because they shot for the moon and they tried to get Lincoln Riley, who was everyone's darling a couple years ago. Lincoln Riley did turn that down, but I'm sure USC would have been like, yeah, cool, take it. Pay the buyout, let him go, because they don't seem to be happy there. Now, North Carolina is an interesting job. Drew, Mac Brown been there for 15, 16 years after leading Texas to a natty. It's a basketball school, but it's an ACC school, and outside of Clemson, who has really dominated the ACC lately, the thing is, for me, they've got all that Jordan money. Are they going to do what Indiana did for Kurt Cinetti this year and take some of that basketball money and eventually put it in to the football team?
See, I think for me, the reason North Carolina is an enticing option, you can say it's a basketball school, but young kids, the younger generation, they love the Jordan, they love the sick jerseys,
Carolina blue, baby.
Yeah, the Carolina, baby blue, like that. As dumb as this sounds, as I'm saying it, because this is not my generation, like that is enticing for kids and recruiting, and I think the Jordan brand's enticing, which is why I think Carolina still, as far as recruiting goes, and they have money. They're going to spend money. It's this is just stupid, by the way. Why is this a money spending grab for all these teams? The NIL suck. I hate it.
It does, and eventually we're working towards that salary cap where every team can spend the same, and that's fine eventually. But still, even when it wasn't NIL, and I'm sure we all had the bagmen, still we've talked about the SEC bagmen, handing bags of cash to whatever. North Carolina still didn't put in the money for their facilities for the football team. It wasn't the same as what basketball is. Like, basketball is the gold standard there. It's like Ohio State football and basketball. Basketball teams got nice setup. Football teams got top of the line, everything, and some of the teams have to come in there to get some of their workouts done. But you look at a team like Purdue. Purdue, they need to follow the Indiana model and find someone like Kurt Cinetti, someone who's going to come in there. I think Ryan Walters got shafted because I don't think he ever got a chance. They gave him 2 years. Yeah, he got dominated 66-0 by Cinetti. Whatever. Some of these other jobs, I think App State shouldn't have opened up. I want to go back to West Virginia, though. West Virginia, from people I've talked to recently, again, text, got kind of a connection in West Virginia. Nothing big, but just from covering the beat and being around college football for a while, I get random people I talk to. Tony Gibson, number 1 candidate there. Rich Rod, a candidate there. And Jimbo Fisher, a candidate there. Pat McAfee brought it up on the show that, hey, Nick Saban, he's a West Virginia guy. Bourne wants to be there. You might help the team find someone. Why not Jimbo Fisher and someone that Nick Saban would bring in? Don't know about that. Other jobs, not sure. I mean, you look at these jobs and you got UCF only opened up because Gus Malzahn decided he wanted to only be an OC, similar to what Chip Kelly did last year. And he was getting $5 million a year. Purdue's paying their head coach $4.5 million a year, but it's only the 52nd most in the entire country. So these jobs open up. There's reasons to take all of them, reasons not to. I'm glad we had that little chat about them here on the show. Let's move on. Staying in college football. Let's get to game picks. Let's move this back. Thank my kid once again for that fun little star-filled Drew and Jeremy head coach opening thing. Let's get into our game picks. We have like 15 minutes left in the show. We're actually on time here, which is weird
Doing
for us.
Good. Hey, listen, look.
Now I have ruined it. Okay, UNLV, Boise State. This is at Boise State. Boise State 3.5-point favorites. Friday night at 8. This is for the Mountain West title. And for Boise State to cement themselves into the playoffs. Boise do this?
Yeah, I think they do.
I think they do as well. Ginty, 340 yards away from breaking Barry Sanders' record, which I hate to hear that. I hate. Listen, yeah, he's had a hell of a season, but also Barry did in like 12 games. Ginty's getting a conference game. He's getting extra games to do it. The kid is a stud, and that upright running style of his, it's crazy.
Jahmyr Gibbs kind of style.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs, they both stand up there. Not as much for Chubb, but it is insane to think about how good that kid can be at the next level. Tulane, 5.5-point favorites in the AAC conference game. This is at Mitchie Stadium in West Point against number 24 Army. Who you got?
Give me Army. Tulane's not seeing an offense like Army all year long, and that's the tough part about teams playing. Offenses like that, they don't see them on a week-to-week basis. Give me Army.
Yeah, this is a game that I think can come down to the last play. I think,
and Tulane, also fucking America, America.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Anyway, I got Army, but I think it's going to come down to the end because I think Army dominates the first half. Tulane kind of makes some adjustments, figures it out. So if you're betting Army first half, which I already locked that one in. Conference USA, Western Kentucky, heading to Alabama to face Jacksonville State. 4.5-point favorites, Jacksonville State at Amherst Stadium, led by the previously mentioned Rich Rodriguez. Who you got in this one?
I don't know, man. Give me Rich Rod. I'm gonna go Rich Rod.
Listen,
I honestly can't give out a good opinion on this game. So
Rich Rod's got Jacksonville State playing well. They can run the football. They're solid on both sides, but they can run the ball. The thing is, Western Kentucky can throw the ball, and they can balance out, and I think their defense is better. Give me the underdog. Give me Western Kentucky in this one. Let's go to the MAC. This is at Ford Field at noon on Saturday. OU against Miami U, the Red Hawks. Red Hawks, 1.5-point favorites. Who you got?
Yeah, give me OU. I've actually watched too much action it's not great.
Listen, I was off all last weekend, so I was betting on everything. I had the DGen bet of taking
Green one.
OU minus 16, and they pulled that off for me. That was fun to get to start my weekend off. Big 12 championship game in Arlington at the Jerry World. 16th ranked Iowa State. Arizona State and Bam Scatterbo, 2.5-point favorites. They're the 12th ranked team in the country based on the playoff rankings. They win this game, they're in. Iowa State will take their place if they lose. Who you got?
Give me Iowa State.
I'm going to take Arizona State. No team hotter than them. They have been fun to watch in the second half of the season. But Matt Campbell, man, that guy, he's steady. That team is always competitive. And this is a big game for them. If they can get into that championship, why not? SEC title game, number 5, Georgia, number 2, Texas. Texas, 2.5-point favorites, 4 p.m. in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, the home of Kirk Cousins and his interceptions. Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck.
Remember when I was like heavy Georgia when they played?
Yeah.
And now it's like
I was too.
Or I was heavy Texas actually.
Oh yeah.
I was heavy Texas.
That's what I meant.
Remember Texas was back and all those things we were saying?
It was.
I want to take Texas again. Texas is back. Give me Texas.
After watching Georgia for 8 extra quarters, or I guess 8 extra overtimes last week. Georgia needs help on the outside. Their one receiver's coming back. I can't remember his name. I don't have it written down here. It's not popping back in my head. But he should return for this game. It's going to make a difference. The thing is, Texas is back. And Texas D-line, Texas O-line, they're damn good. And I think this is a massive game for them. Kirby, going to have to step up. I think this should be a fun game. I think it'll be close. But when it comes down to it and give me those quarterbacks, I do not trust Carson Beck. I trust Quinn Ewers more or Arch Manning more. Give me the Texas Longhorns once again. Let's make that same mistake twice. Sunbelt, Marshall at Louisiana. Louisiana minus 5.5, 7:30 at Cajun Field Saturday night. Who you got?
Give me Louisiana.
I will also take Louisiana. Penn State, Oregon. Oregon, 3.5-point favorites, as we mentioned. This is at 8 o'clock on Saturday night in Indy. Who you got?
Give me Oregon.
Clemson and SMU. Now this is going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
SMU, they've been a dog all year, and I know Clemson's a household name. Sorry to go Forrest Gump on you there. But anyway, Clemson, we all know them. And last week, they had a damn good shot to just cement their status and probably be ranked higher than SMU at this point. And then they come down to the end of the game, and they give up a big play on defense, and then they throw the interception on offense. When they were in field goal range, they looked like they were set up to win that football game, or at least tie it. Something good. And guess what? They blew it. And I've been on SMU all year. I'm not going to change that. Give me SMU. Fuck Dabo. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm fading SMU as well. I am. I get Dabo. Give me Dabo.
Okay.
SMU is the team in the playoff that they're probably going to get fucked if they lose. I mean, of course
they will.
Yeah,
they're going to.
And so that's tough because I think SMU's played fantastic. But yeah, I'm fading them. Give me Clemson. Clemson, though, also a complete wild card team. They're a different team that shows up on a week-to-week basis.
Yep.
I don't know what to expect.
I hope SMU rolls them. And let's get in the NFL. Tomorrow night, big game in the NFL. Detroit Lions. Green Bay Packers. This one. 3.5-point favorites for your Detroit Lions. The over under 51.5. True. This is at home. Lions win.
I think the Lions do win. However, I mean, that's a banged up football team right now. Mm-hmm. They have so many injuries defensively.
Who went out today? There was someone else who went out today, and I didn't catch who it was. I just saw that they lost someone else.
DJ Reader's out. Okay. They have 3 defensive linemen out, and Taylor Decker's out. So, and they're, I mean, of course, they're already banged up. Anzalone on the IR. Mm-hmm. You have, Jack Campbell's the only good linebacker they have now. They signed Jamal Adams, which is interesting. They think he's going to play a little linebacker hybrid.
Please, that's where he should have been years ago.
So I don't know, but I still think the Lions at home can get it done. I was listening to like those updates you get on the radio.
Yeah.
The guy said on the radio, he said the Lions have won 3 games in a row. It's 10. It's actually 10, but it's no big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big game.
3-10.
Yeah. What's the difference? This is a big game. I think the Lions are going to win, but it's going to be tough because there's a lot of issues defensively right now.
There is, but that offense always seems figured out, even when they throw 5 interceptions. Jordan Love. Talk about roller coaster. Jordan Love hasn't been. He is. And that's play by play, not game by game. Play by play is a roller coaster. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I think it comes down to the end, but I do like the Lions to win and cover. Let's move on to Sunday. Raiders, Buccaneers. Buccaneers, 6.5-point favorites. Baker's banged up. Mike Evans is back. Bucky Irving looks like he's turned into a star. Yeah. Aiden O'Connell threw for 340 yards last week. And if you've listened to this show, watched this show ever, you know one thing. Aiden O'Connell's my dude. I will always root for Aiden O'Connell for some stupid reason.
It's the greatest quarterback ever.
I mean,
give me the Buccaneers. Fuck Aiden O'Connell.
Give me the Raiders and Aiden
Oh,
O'Connell.
you sick son of a bitch. Oh, all right. That's fine. That's fine.
Listen, they should have won last week in Arrowhead, and they had a snap infraction that ended that game, causing a fumble on Jackson Powers Johnson, who, if you got to listen to the Westwood One broadcast of that, James Lofton, former Bills wide
Bro,
receiver,
nobody's listening to the Westwood One broadcast besides grandfathers. You're talking to a community of 80-year-old people who clearly don't know how to fucking get on the internet to watch our show. You're talking to grandfathers who are reading Werther's originals.
Listen, it was on 92.3 in the car, but I'm sure 5 or 10 other people were listening to it. Anyway, James Lofton is out there every play talking about how good Austin Powers Johnson was playing. And at first, I thought it was a joke, and he kept calling him Austin Powers Johnson. And I am alone in the car, like laughing to myself like a psycho. Moving on to our next game, Cleveland Browns, who just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers about 2 weeks ago. They head to Pittsburgh to face the crazy man, George Pickens, Russell Wilson, who can all of a sudden throw the ball over the middle, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 6.5-point favorites in this game. Who you like?
Yeah, I'll take the Browns and the points. I don't know about winning outright, but there's something about playing a team twice in a short span that makes it difficult. So give me the Browns and the points.
Yeah, I want to take the Browns as well because, the Steelers put up 44 points last week. That was against a Cincinnati Bengals team that we could find.
What a fun game that was, though.
It was, but, dude, you and I could go in our neighborhoods right now, find 10 other guys, put together me and you running an offense and defense. Our offense would roll. Our defense would struggle, but that's basically every Cincinnati Bengals game. Like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase score 40 points and lose multiple times. So, Steelers, I don't think they do what they did. This is a 43.5-point total. I like the Browns. I like the Browns to win outright. I don't even like that. I just said that. Now it's going to be a blowout. Anyway, Jacksonville Jaguars led by McCorkle Jones after the death of Trevor Lawrence, or so it's seen by the guy who got suspended 3 games today, and his suspension was upheld, which is crazy. 3 games is a lot. They head to Tennessee to face another one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch because this guy is a mess.
Sucks, dude.
It is the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, 3.5-point favorites.
Cool.
Tennessee's got to win this game, right?
No, give me Jacksonville. I mean, Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence are the same guy, just different hairstyle.
Yeah, different hair. That's and few inches in height.
Yeah. So give me this game sucks. I hope Scott Hansen doesn't even fucking acknowledge this game the whole afternoon.
7 hours of ignoring this game.
Yeah.
That's what the over under 39.5 on the total.
Yeah, that tells you right there. This is a bum fest. This is 2 bums fighting with pillows.
We got some low totals this week.
Yeah,
looking through this
bullshit games. I'll tell you. I know we're running low on time. There are some bad NFL football being played this year.
We talked about it last week. This is the first year where we've really seen upper echelon teams, bottom of the barrel teams, and then not really a lot of middle teams. Atlanta or the whole NFC South for the most part. They're the middle team.
We're going to get the Giants Saints. Bum fest.
Especially with Mormon Tebow's out now with an ACL.
I don't care if fucking Tim Tebow's out there. It doesn't matter. It's a bum fest.
Tim Tebow's still looking for the mascot's feet because he thinks Spurrier cut him off. Anyway, what a fucking weird comment that is, but if you've seen the commercial, you understand. Anyway, I'll take the Titans. I think Will Levis throws at least 1 pick six, keep it close. Panthers, 12.5-point dogs against the Philadelphia Eagles, who beat Baltimore last week, but we don't know how good Baltimore is. We've seen them go up and down. They're in a run. I mean, I didn't even mention them as the next group when it came to the Bills. And, Eagles are a damn good football team, but how much do you trust Jalen Hurts? Sure, and we already know that answer from anyone watching the show. But who you got in this game?
Yeah, here's the deal. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. They're going to have enough to get it done, but I'll take the 13-point spread that it is currently. Bryce Young, dude. Bryce Young deserves his flowers. I've been impressed with Bryce Young after coming off the benching.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we talked about Bryce Young just being just terrible. And so for what he's done here lately, he deserves his flowers, and hopefully it rolls over to next week.
Yeah.
He just seems clear and concise right now with the way he's
Yep.
throwing the ball.
And Bryce Young playing better than CJ Stroud right now. They lost that game last week because Chuba Hubbard, who has had an excellent season, fumbled the football, and you can't blame him. This shit happens. They should have won that football game, beat Tampa Bay. I will take the Panthers to cover. Eagles win the game. Falcons at Vikings. Kirko goes home. 5.5-point favorites for the Vikings. Who you got?
Give me the give me the Falcons, and I'll take the money line. I'll take them outright.
I will take the Vikings and Sam Darnold to continue rolling. Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins almost 7-point favorites at 6.5.
Give me the Dolphins.
I'm going to take Dolphins too. Jets just suck.
Yeah, dude, like they tried to trap us in the first quarter last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rodgers was diming it to Devontae Adams. Like it was like, oh, all right, maybe this shit's going down again. Maybe it just took a little time, and now they're dog shit.
Yeah, and plus, Garrett Wilson's still on that team, right?
No.
Is he? Like, did he go home? Like,
he just throws it to Devontae Adams every time now.
Fuck. Ridiculous. Yeah, give me the Dolphins in that one. The aforementioned Saints at Giants. We got another Drew Lock game. Drew Lock is the perfect place.
Give me the Saints. I got nothing else.
Same. Saints. Kamara Tutties. Seahawks at Cardinals. Seahawks, the current leader in the NFC West. Cardinals failing. But the Cardinals are 2.5-point favorites at home in this one.
Yeah, give me the Cardinals. The Seahawks are a bipolar mess right now as a team.
They're 7-4 somehow. It is insane. I will take Seahawks in this one. Chicago Bears in our 4 o'clock slate here. 4:25 start for this one. Chicago Bears at 49ers. 49ers 3.5-point favorites. Do the Bears get the new coach bump that every team's gotten except for the Jets?
No, because fuck the Bears. Listen, the Niners are banged up as anybody, but they're back in weather that they can compete in. The Bears, I just think, just fuck the Bears. Give me the Niners.
Give me the Bears. Yeah. Buffalo Bills at LA Rams. Bills 4.5-point favorites heading into SoFi.
It seems like a trappy game to me, honestly. It seems like a trap game to me.
Are they looking ahead?
Yeah, I'll take the Rams plus the 4 points. Okay. I think the Bills probably win, but I think like the Rams can move it. The Rams are fun. I like the Rams to hang around this game.
I don't know how the Rams won last week. Like I thought the Rams were going to lose that game all day, and then they end up winning somehow. I will take the Bills. I also like the Rams with the points. Similar to you, 3-point game I'm seeing. Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites. This is our 8:20 game. This is Sunday Night Football. The total on this one, 42.5.
Yeah, give me the Chargers. I'm not going to get into it, but I don't think that Kansas City's that kind of football team right now. Now Hollywood Brown could come back and it could be great, but he has 0 reps with Patrick Mahomes in real game. So I don't know what to tell you.
Man, I'll take the Chiefs just for the hell of it. Bengals at Cowboys. Bengals 5.5-point favorites. Total on this one, 49.5. Expect the Bengals to score all that by themselves. Yep. They're without Evan McPherson. He's out this week. Former Browns kicker. Cade York is their kicker. So if you haven't seen Cade York kick in an NFL game recently, Monday night's your chance, baby. Who you like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals. It's just a better team.
It is hard not to take the Bengals in that one, and to actually say that they're a better team than someone is pretty crazy. But Cowboys, man, Cooper Rush show. That's been up and down. But hey, they found a running game last week with Rico Dowdle. Should make that one fun, and we know the Bengals haven't stopped anyone. Drew, let's get into Ward's wagers.
Yeah, we'll start with the Bengals. We'll take the Bengals -5. I know the Bengals defense has been an absolute mess, but Cooper Rush and that offense, give me the Bengals. I'm also going to take the 49ers at home -4 against the Bears. and also give me Arizona at home -2.5 against the Seahawks. These I have a good feeling 2-1, 3-0, but my favorite, we'll say the play of the day or the play of the week is the Bengals covering that -5 in Dallas.
All those picks, as always, good, and they're all in the late window too. So you got, let's see here, what was the other one? I'm looking. Yep, there we go. So all in the late window there, leading into Sunday Night Football. You put those three together right now on FanDuel. That's a plus 568 parlay for you.
Juicy.
It is juicy, and I did just put that in, so I will take that. Even though I picked against you in a couple of them, but hey, I can't go against Ward's wages. You saw that record on the screen. That record, pretty sick. My lock this week, as I said earlier in the show, is Army first half in that game. That's all I got. Don't listen to me. I'm not the betting man. That's Ward's wagers. That's the man over there. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here tonight on this lovely Wednesday?
Yeah, just thanks to the troops. Ride the Army first half bet, and we'll see you next week. And go Lions.
Go Lions. Let's hope that's a fun-ass game tomorrow night, even if the Lions just dominate. I do need points in fantasy for Jordan Love because I need to win my game to make sure I have a chance to get in the playoffs ahead of you in one of our leagues here.
You're going to lose. You're going to lose.
I will probably lose. I'm projected to lose, and you're projected to win. You're playing my kid, who is the worst team in the league this year.
Dude, but she around you, dude. Don't just be careful what you say.
She knows that.
You're being a little too loud. You're being a little too loud.
She knows she's the worst team in the league.
Don't be trying to coach her up to beat me, dude, because I know if there's inside shenanigans going on, I will go to the league official.
Go look at her roster and the shit you just talked about the Cowboys. She's playing like all Cowboys. You got Jake Ferguson in that lineup. Cooper Rush is starting.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. She knows, but she had no one else. Lamar's on
if
bye.
I see collusion, I'll fucking bring it up, dude.
Week 14 bye weeks? Why are we doing week 14 buys? Like, you got teams in week 3 taking bye, and then week 14, NFL. Get that 18th game out and switch it up and get it together. Anyway, hey, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will be on Spotify today or tomorrow, depending on when I get it. We'll be back on our podcast, normal times. And remember, as always, if you live the life you love, you'll live the life you live. Night, kids.